Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Dimples on Demand, and today we're going to talk about something different. So recently on Sunday, I was doing DoorDash and I ended up getting my first contract violation. Now, I've been with DoorDash since 2015 and I have never had a contract violation. I hear people talk about them, but I've just never received one. So in this video, we're going to talk about the contract violation, and I'm also going to go over my earnings for week 2 of Gig Madness. And I know that's what you guys are here for. So I'm going to make this video right now. It is a little loud in the background because there's construction going on, but T subscribers have already told me that they want to see this video. So here we are. So on Sunday, I was doing DoorDash and I ended up accepting an order from the Cheesecake Factory. Now, I've heard that the Cheesecake Factory payouts are, most of the time, they're worth it. So I was like, oh, I always wanted to do a Cheesecake Factory order to see what my payout might be. So an order came in on Sunday night. The offer screens, the payout was $10.50. Now, the distance was like 0.1 miles. So when I analyzed the order, I saw that it was picking up from the Cheesecake Factory, which where I live, the Cheesecake Factory is in the mall. So it was picking up from the Cheesecake Factory and delivering to Skechers in the mall. So I was like, okay, if I'm going to take a Cheesecake Factory order, definitely I want to take this one because it's so easy. So I ended up accepting the order. Again, like I said, it was paying $10.50 on the initial offer screen. And I proceeded to the restaurant. I've never done a Cheesecake Factory order. I went to the hostess and told her I was here picking up a DoorDash order. She said, no problem, just go straight to the kitchen. On my way to the kitchen, I get a phone call that's from an 855 number. So I knew that it had to be DoorDash. So I answered the phone and it was the customer. So the customer stated, she was like, hey, you're picking up my order from the Cheesecake Factory? So I said, yes. And she said, oh, I made a mistake and I put my job's address instead of putting my home address. Now, initially when I saw the order, I kind of thought like, what person would order from the mall, knowing that they work in the mall, to have it delivered to the mall? Like, in my mind, I was like, why would anyone pay DoorDash these high fees to have an order delivered when the restaurant is like 3 minutes away? But hey, if you have your money, you want to do whatever you want with it, fine. So she stated that she made a mistake and she put her job address instead of her home address. So already right then and there, I'm like, all right, what's the address? So she was like, oh, if you can bring my order to me, I would pay you extra. So I said, well, what's the address? So she stated that she lived in a neighborhood that I personally do not go to. So once she said the neighborhood, I was just like, oh no, girl, I can't do the order. So she said, excuse me. I said, unfortunately, I won't be able to do this order. I'm going to go ahead and cancel it and another driver will pick it up for you. Now, this specific neighborhood, I don't go to in the day, I don't go to in the evening, and I'm definitely not going to at night. So I kind of feel like I don't know how to say it, but customers they're not dumb. Like, I think that she knew what she was doing, because when an order is generated and is sent to me, I look at a number of things: the payout, of course, the distance, and then the neighborhood. So if that would have came up and it had the little, that line that connects you from the restaurant to the customer's house, that would have been an automatic decline for me. So I think that she knew this. I think that she knows that maybe most drivers wouldn't come to her home, because it's not like DoorDash is not in her area, because it is. So I told her, I was like, no, I can't do it. I'll cancel it. She said, okay. So I ended up doing an about face and I headed back to my car. And I called DoorDash and I explained to them the story, saying, you know, the customer ordered from this restaurant and she wants it delivered to another address. So then the rep that I had, she was like, oh, well, let me see what address. Like, she was asking me for the address. I told her, it doesn't matter what the address is, I'm not going. So we don't have to go any further. So she said, okay, let me look into this. So she put me on hold, and then I received a call from another 855 number. Of course, DoorDash. So I answer the call, and it's a rep from DoorDash while I'm on hold with DoorDash. And she was like, oh, this customer told me that you do not want to deliver her food. I said, oh, no, yes, that is true. I don't want to deliver her food to her new address. I didn't mind delivering the food to the previous address, but definitely not the new one. So she said, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and mark this order as picked up and delivered. So I was like, okay. She said, you don't have to do anything on your end. I'm going to mark it as picked up and delivered, and you'll still get paid. So I said, okay. So she placed me on hold as I'm on hold still with the other rep, and she went ahead, marked it picked up and delivered, and that was it. I got paid for the order. So I just end up hanging up the phone for both of the calls. About maybe a minute later, the initial rep that I was speaking to, she was like, oh, we got disconnected. So I was like, no, I hung up because the problem was resolved. So she said, oh, well, I just want to finish up on my end. She said, it seems that you have already picked up and delivered the food. So I said to her, I did not. Another rep called me and she stated that she was going to manually mark the order as picked up and delivered, but I personally did not pick up the food. So in her voice, I can tell that she didn't believe what I was saying. So I kept telling her I did not pick up the food. So she's like, well, it says that it was picked up. I said, why don't you call the restaurant and ask them if I came to pick up the food? So she placed me on hold. She called the restaurant. She gets back to me and she said, oh, you were telling the truth. The order wasn't picked up. So I said, I know. So she told me that she told the restaurant that the order was canceled and she was then going to pay me half of my earnings from the order. So I'm just like, is no one communicating with each other? Like, I know there has to be notes somewhere because the previous rep already marked, picked up, delivered. Now this one is going to pay me half, whatever. So while all this is going on, I ended up taking another DoorDash order from the Cheesecake Factory because, like I said before, I wanted to see what the payouts would be with a Cheesecake Factory order. So I ended up accepting that order. I walk into the Cheesecake Factory once again and I pick up the order that initially was for me, and then, or the second order, sorry, and then the other order, the initial order, was still on my screen. So I'm like, I don't know what's going on. This doesn't make any sense. So what I did was I marked that first order as picked up and delivered because I've already spoken to two people. The issue should have been resolved. So nevertheless, I went to drop off the second order. The payout was nothing grand. I made, I want to say $11 for the order. So, or $10.50, something like that. I'll put it on the screen. And that was it. I got paid as promised that the previous rep, I got paid for the order that I wasn't going to deliver, and I got paid for the second order that I actually did deliver. So that was it. I said, you know what? My night is going to end. I am good. I've experienced this and that's it. Ready to move on. So I go back into the DoorDash app and I get a message that pops up stating I have failed to deliver a customer's order. So I'll put the email up on the screen, and basically the email was stating like a customer reported that she didn't receive her food. I failed to drop it off, blah, blah, blah. So I'm just like, yeah, she didn't get her food because I told her I was going to get her food, and the rep canceled the order. So I was just like, oh, here we go. I've been with DoorDash since 2015, and then here we are, a freaking contract violation because of something that's not my fault. Something that I said flat out I wasn't going to do. But I guess the customer was upset that she didn't get her food, which I understand her being upset, but she can't be upset with me. She can only be upset with herself because she made the mistake. So when you click into that email, you can tell your side of the story. So that's what I did. I basically stated, this is what happened. The customer put in the wrong address. I spoke to 2 reps and they stated that the issue would be resolved. So while all this is going on, I'm just like, oh, I don't understand. Like, why is this happening? This doesn't make any sense. And then I was speaking to T from At a Journey with T, and I was like, well, how long is this contract violation going to stay? She said, well, it's going to stay there for 100 orders. So I don't even do DoorDash like that. I've, like I said, been on the platform since 2015. I've only delivered like 390 orders. So that violation would have stayed on my account for a long time because I don't do DoorDash like that. So I don't want to say disappointed, but I was just like, I hate being annoyed, especially when it's not my fault. So I said, you know what, whatever. It is what it is. If it stays there, then fine. So then I received another email. I want to say maybe like 5 or 7 minutes later. Before I got the email, I saw that the contract violation disappeared. So I was like, oh, well, it's gone. So, okay, I feel much better. And then I received an email, and the email basically stated, after reviewing your account, we are going to remove this contract violation, blah, blah, blah. I'll put it up on the screen. So I was just like, oh, resolution in less than, I want to say the whole thing took maybe half an hour to an hour. Everything was resolved. So I'm here to say that if you get a contract violation and it is not your fault, go ahead and appeal and just tell your side of the story because it can be removed. I am proof that it can be removed. So for now, no more Cheesecake Factory orders for me. And if you guys run into the situation where the customers, they tote the line, they know what they're doing. But if you run into the situation where a customer reaches out to you and states that they want to change the address, especially not going through the app itself, they want to beeline straight to you, make sure you think about what you're doing. Do you want to go to this specific drop-off? Let whatever platform know what's going on, because if something happens to you, they don't have a record of where you're supposed to be. So if they have from point A to point B and then suddenly you're going from B to C, then something's not right, or A to C, something's not right. So make sure that you let the platform know what is going on, the change of address, and honestly, you have the right to say you don't want to do it and you move on. Don't feel bad about not doing it. You have the right to say, I'm not delivering this order. So that's what happened to me. And yeah, that's it. So let's get into this week's earnings. So if you guys follow me on Instagram, then you know that I was finally paid by Amazon Flex. The last time I did a block was January 7th, 2021, and I have not been paid this entire time for that block that I worked. We all know this. If you guys watch my videos, you know how upset I was with Amazon for not paying me. So I am happy to report that I was finally paid from Amazon. So goodness, it was such a long road. Email after email. I spoke to so many different people. Shout out to Kevin Woodard and his wife, who definitely helped me out in this whole situation. And for T, for encouraging me, I guess. So just hold on a little while. They'll pay you, whatever. It took a little while, but I got paid. I don't know if I should count what I made from 2 months ago in this gig challenge, so I am not. So let's go through what I was able to make for week 2 of Gig Madness. So I ended up getting paid from Amazon, but then remember, my experience was so horrible when I worked Amazon Flex in Brooklyn. It was horrible. There was no parking. It was too stressful. I was just like, why would anybody do this? But T said to give it another try and to experience Amazon where I currently live, that maybe it'll be different. So I ended up taking a block on Sunday, and it was an instant offer. It wasn't a block. I took an instant offer, and it was between 10:27 and 10:50 p.m. to pick up from Whole Foods. So I went to Whole Foods. Of course, Whole Foods was closed. All I did was sit in the parking lot, and I got paid $9 just to sit there. No delivery, no pickup. I just sat there. So I'm going to include that in this week's earnings. So I ended up making $9 from just sitting there. On UberEats, I made $22.06. I did quite a few apps this week, so prepare yourself. For Grubhub, I made $23.33. On Shipt, I completed one order, $17.97. I also did point pickup for the very first time last week, and I made $23 completing 2 orders. On DoorDash, I made $277.83. And on Instacart, I made $675.70. So, definitely not, this is not last week. Last week was, I did well. This week I did well too, honestly. So I'll insert my grand total for this week. I feel good. Like, I think I did well. I cannot wait for the contest to be over, and I stated this in the last video. Yeah, I probably would have made more last week, but I have some things that I'm working on behind the scenes that kind of took over my work time or my gig time, so I made less, but I still did well. I know T has already put out her video, so by now you guys know that I have, quote unquote, won or beat her for the second week in a row. Yeah, and that's it. I am going to continue to work and continue to hustle. I'm going to try not to overthink it, and I don't know, like, I think I just can't wait for it to be over. That's all I have to say. So yeah, that is the end of this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I gotta hurry up and edit this video before T's subscribers stone me for not getting it up. And yeah, thank you guys for those of you that are supporting me and encouraging me, because you think that I can win this. Thank you to those who think that I can't win this. It's all good. It's all fun and games. Nothing is serious here. And yeah, if you guys are also participating in Gig Madness, please leave your earnings below in the comments. And we have 2 more weeks of this. Is it 2? Or like 2.5? Anyway, can't wait for it to be over. Thank you guys for coming to watch this video. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.